I've definitely got a bit to say here and there. Probably a couple of minutes at least. I planned out what I was going to talk about quite briefly, so here goes. Seeing as this series is about exercise, I'll talk about the exercise I did first, and then I'll talk about the other news, which in the title I would have put first, with the proof I've passed as a part of the thumbnail. So let's get into it. I went and had my driving test. I passed, and I'll get back into that later. After that, went to the gym and I worked on my cardio again. So I went and did like a 5-minute walk, if I remember. No, it was a 2.5-minute walk because I couldn't be bothered to get to 5 minutes. I felt ready, so I listened to my body rather than go as planned. And then from there, I decided to try out what I wanted to try out, which was to go 10 minutes jogging non-stop. And I did that relatively easily for the most part, but it started getting difficult for the last 2 minutes because of lactic acid build up, I think. Right here, all in my sternum, I felt it. It was so difficult to deal with. My legs felt fine. My hamstrings felt tight throughout the session, but I think that could have been either before the main 10-minute jog or after. I'm not quite sure. But it was so difficult to deal with those last 2 minutes. From passing the test, I felt so... no, what was I going to say? Oh no, that doesn't matter. So, from getting into it at 10 kilometers an hour for like 8 minutes or so, it was just so tough to deal with. Because I think it started getting anaerobic. Otherwise, I don't quite know how that makes sense. It was almost like that sensation would be the same sensation I get from sprinting. So maybe 10 kilometers an hour for me is just about the verge of sprinting. Past a certain point, I think when I started to feel my sternum like have a build-up of lactic acid, maybe that's when I think the respiration could have started to turn from aerobic to anaerobic, and I basically by that point was sprinting. I was jogging at the same pace. I managed to maintain it, and I just kept on going for that until the end mark, which I made to be 10 minutes. In order for me to not feel that way, I think I might have to keep on going before the lactic acid build-up would start to go away. Or maybe it won't ever go away past that point and I just have to learn how to deal with it. Or maybe I'm pushing, maybe that's my limit before having what people might call a runner's high. I had a lot of focus. I felt very focused throughout the entirety of the jog because I've done it before, but maybe I'll have even more of a focus if I go for 15 minutes jogging and eventually 20 minutes jogging non-stop. Maybe I'd be getting to a runner's high there, but it seems like at this rate, if I keep on going like the way I'm going, I genuinely might be able to run a marathon. It was something that I thought of doing as a teenager, as something to tick off a tick box list or checkbox list of some sort as to what I'd like to do with my life, as I was thinking about it when I was a teen. Maybe I don't know. Maybe anywhere from maybe 13 to 16. Maybe I really don't know. But it was a while ago. I'm 21 now, so yeah, it was a while. But it could be something I can think of doing, or maybe eventually. But right now, in terms of having something to aim for, that's in my eyes more realistic, and by realistic I mean closer to what I'm doing at the moment, it'd be 5k. Doing a marathon is realistic for someone like me, because I'm getting my health together, so it's not unrealistic, as I was implying just then, for me to do. It's possible for me to run a marathon distance, but that'd take a while. 26.2 miles, if I'm not mistaken, that's the marathon distance. I don't know how much that'd be in kilometers. The treadmills, they go in kilometers, not miles, so I don't know how I'd be able to how I'd know I would have ran half a marathon. No, how I would have known I would have ran a marathon. With that slip up there, I in fact could aim toward that. Maybe a 5k, then a quarter marathon, then a half marathon, then 3/4, and then an actual marathon distance. And by that point, as I'd probably be getting to like the half marathon, I think I'd eventually be like, I would not be jogging on a treadmill to do that. I'd be wanting to see different things than just looking at the walls of the gym. Not built to be in buildings all day, so I think what I'd do is I'll probably, seeing as I can now drive, I purposely said that so that I could tie it into this second part of the video. Seeing as I can now drive, I would park somewhere and have a follow a route that I would have made for myself. But yeah, that's actually in fact something that I can think of doing, just in pursuit of improving my cardiovascular health and fitness in general. So I'll plan it with one of these small clean flashcard size piece of paper, which I got from printing out flashcards for my course. So I put 20 minutes non-stop jogging, 5k, I put 5k marathon and accident, but I meant 5k, and then quarter marathon, and then half marathon, and then 3/4, and then full marathon for the first time, and then marathon done faster, done quicker than first time. I'll leave it at that for now, even though my mind went to triathlons, although I could try and do it and see what it would be like. I'll progress there, and then if I really want to, I would have, I think, unironically thought about taking a triathlon if I really want to do it. So I'll leave it at that. I'll ask myself. I could say I can do a triathlon. I could try out doing a. If I really like this stuff. I don't know what I'm getting myself into there. And I know I don't. I know I don't know. So, hence, I'm saying I can do it once I get more into it and I learn more about marathons and triathlon stuff. I know I don't know what I'm getting myself into there. I think it'd be a whole load of jogging, biking and swimming. Speaking of, I need to know how to swim to do that, if I'm not mistaken. But it's just a whole load of thinking. Yeah. I certainly would like to know how to swim for sure, and ASAP, because you never know when you're going to need that skill. It's something I've been wanting to do. For that reason, I considered it an essential life skill after watching enough self-improvement videos. I don't think that space is truly self-improvement, because it seems to be predominantly based around giving other people advice rather than yourself. So just telling others what to do rather than themselves, which is not self, it's not improvement of self, it's giving others the tools to improve themselves maybe. But I don't think it's predominantly self-improvement. I think if it were, there at least at bare minimum be many more people talking about what they've gone and achieved in their lives and explicitly talking about that in the titles of the videos, rather than making suspense or enigma-inducing thumbnails specifically just for money only, being hungry for money, rather than actually doing what they say they're about, which is improvement of self and having their own story to tell, like me. So I think if there were any channels that really do actually show true improvement of self, in its truest, most true form, at least a lot more than other people, would be what I do over here. However, it's not just me that's going to be like this. I think there'd be other people, but anyway, I'll leave that. I don't care for that space whatsoever. On the odd occasion, as I'm now working out of the habit, I check a couple of improvements, quote unquote, self-improvement channels, and I feel happy that I'm no longer in that space and wanting to just, without question, follow certain people or allow my sex drive to be exploited by sexually implicit or outright explicit thumbnails and titles, perhaps. Yeah. But I'll leave that at that. Now, I'm going to talk about what's going on in my life truthfully, without trying to add suspense to what I'm doing. I've already mentioned this, and it's the fact that I've gone and passed my test today. Now, with those dark thoughts that I was having the day before yesterday, if I further acted on them and I really did what I sought out to do, or what I was contemplating rather, I wouldn't have known that I would have passed my driving test, and I would see a lot more hope than I did before that time, when I was contemplating on the thoughts and I was acting on the thoughts, those dark thoughts that I had. Yeah, I purposely am not talking about them, because I did talk about them honestly in a comment on that video, on that day 405, yeah, 405 I think video when I said I was having really dark thoughts. I was speaking to the guy on the comment section, or the account, and I was being very honest with the person in the comment I made, but it got taken down. So for that reason, I purposely am not speaking about the thoughts that I had, because I don't want this video taken down. Yeah. Anyway, 2 days after I've gone and taken my test, and now it's getting easier to mentally, with this hope, with this newfound hope that will eventually wear off. It's getting easier to carry on moving forward. Speaking of, I have gone out of my way to go and see if the gym I currently go to is hiring. I've gone and asked. I went and got an interview. Oh, this is more for PT diaries. So I will finish what I'm saying, but I'll leave it at that and leave how job stuff's going for that episode. But yeah, got an interview. I didn't get an interview. I got an interview offer. They said, "Are you willing to work it?" A main part of their description role was that they wanted me to work a couple of nights a week, and I said I don't want to do that because I don't want to potentially mess with my sleeping routine. That's what I told them, and it's true. I don't want to just I don't want to just work to. I don't want to just exist to work. But they said, no, we are looking for. I'm looking for someone who can do that, and they can go find that somewhere else. Good luck to them with that. And I mean that genuinely. However that goes for them. It could be my business if they try and contact me again, but for now it's not. I've gone and asked them if they have any places that they could recommend me to go, and they said they haven't given me a response, and they probably won't, because they've gone and looked and seen, oh no, he's not willing to do night shifts, so good luck with that. And that's that. They've immediately moved on. We've never seen each other before, so yeah, that's fair enough. You're not gonna want to care about someone who you haven't even seen. From there, oh no, I said I'll leave it at that. So I will leave it at that. Yeah. Well, going back to what I wanted to speak about, one of the main topics of this video, the driving test. Passed it. I've passed it. I've got 4 minors. I got 1 for during a parallel park, because I didn't wait for a cyclist that was far away to completely pass me, and the cyclist went on the pavement. I got another one for use of mirrors and change of speed. Maybe I was using my mirrors too little, and on the results they counted that as 1 fault. So we've got 2. And then there were another 2. I think there was one about a junction, and then there was another one, I don't know. But I do have the results with me, and I've got the results, and I've got the certificate, which I got handed immediately. So right now, although I can drive both literally and legally now, I'm still waiting for my card, because it's literally just happened today. I had to get my card taken from me because I passed. So we've shed that, and to get to the next level, that's meant that I've had to get my certificate. That's something else instead, and the other something else that I'll soon get, which is my pink card. Yeah. I felt relieved at first, slightly relieved, and then it really settled in when I was just going for a walk after the lesson today. After the lesson today, in which I had the preparation for the test, just doing a little bit, just general driving here and there, and then the test itself. I was feeling a bit on edge, and I felt the same feeling of anxiety before the test, and I worked through it, so I didn't have to work through it again when I felt that feeling of on edge, when I felt that anxiety come in the form of a physiological response. It felt like a warm feeling in between my pecs and my sternum here. That's how it felt, and because I felt that same feeling yesterday, and I put a word on it, on feeling on edge, I was able to tame it. It's a idea that Therapy in a Nutshell has on her channel, which is name it to tame it, and I did just that, and it worked. And because I did it the night before, last night, that meant that I didn't have to try and work through it as much as I did last night then, when I needed to put my focus on the road. So I knew what to do, because I worked through it. Yeah. Man. I've been wanting to do that, and it's now done. Now, just general driving, actually everyday driving on the road, after Pass Plus and maybe some advanced driving lessons, just to get my driving as clean as it can be through lessons. Make sure that keep myself up, keep my ability to drive up to date, basically. And then every now and then, when I think I need it, we just go for a Pass Plus test, and money would be coming in, so I wouldn't have to think about that. That wouldn't be an issue. And just every now and then, maybe every few years or so, whenever I think I need it, I think, wow, it's been a while since I've had lessons. I probably should take a Pass Plus test. When I start thinking those sorts of thoughts, I think I should start acting on them. I don't know if I will, because I'm not a fortune teller, but if I am watching this, I'd say please do. If you're thinking about it, depending on how easy that is and depending on what the situation is, if you can, please set some space, give myself some space to make sure that I'm not a risky driver. Although I might think that I'm not, there's nothing wrong with making sure that that's the case with the help of a qualified driving instructor. I'd be a qualified driver, and by that point, seeing as I am 21 and I would have driven for a few years, if it had been 3 years or more since after today, I would be able to supervise people and teach them how to drive, but I wouldn't be able to be a driving instructor. Yeah. Doesn't mean that my abilities are exempt from a check every now and then. Because who knows, I might have, without realising it, started becoming a bit reckless here and there, not on purpose, but just driving a bit more dangerously than I have before and on the test. Yeah. It really is just that. It's just a test. It's not fate. It's not real fate. It's not necessarily real or fake. They're all real. When I say they're all real, mock tests included, I say that because they've all happened. And the mock tests are like the real thing, hence they're called mock tests. That's a real test to make sure that you're safe on the road, just like how the actual driving test would be. But people might feel more fear related to that, or more on edge related to that than the mock test, because you've invested more in the actual test than the mock test, through having, or some people might, through having your driving instructor get you prepared for the test, and then having the test itself, which costs more than just 2 hours, quite a bit more. Yeah. Well, anyway, as I was talking about happiness settling. I was talking about happiness settling in. So I felt relieved, as I said, and it started just. It felt completely in control and calm about that. It felt small and slight. I noticed it, but it didn't feel like it was. The relief was growing out of my control, and by that I mean it didn't. I didn't feel euphoric after getting that news that I did pass. He said the driving was pretty good, to be fair. That's the exam invigilator, by the way. And he said that he didn't understand why I started going if I waited for the other cyclist that passed before, the one that I spoke about earlier, but then didn't wait for the other cyclist, this second cyclist, to go before I started my move, which could have been a serious fault if the second cyclist was closer, he said. I said, alright. Yeah, I was just, yeah. He seemed okay, very, very, very professional, but he didn't seem like he was going out of his way to make the test difficult. I could speak to him, and I did, because he had a traffic jam on the way back to the test centre, but it was not friendly, it was civil and very focused around the test, and that's it. He did not care about anything else. My previous invigilator was not like that, he was more friendly, but this one, very, very focused on the test and the test alone, just almost as if he just wanted to finish, just get it done, or to just do the test and that's it. Civil, very, very civil, very, very professional with the way how he was so focused on the test. Fair enough, it's his job. Just seemed a lot less like I could have, or it seemed a lot less like he was willing to have a conversation about just other things, like how people would. But then again, it's his job to just focus on the test and the test alone. It's not like he's getting paid to have conversations with people. Yeah. But now, it's different. Yeah, as I was going for the walk, the happiness grew. And I noticed that I stopped looking at cars as much as I was walking on the pavement, because I've passed my test. Me looking, I think subconsciously, could have been a hint that I really want to learn and pass the test so that I can drive legally, and with enough reminders potentially from the subconscious mind, if I am right, and with enough conscious thoughts that I've expressed through the channel and also off camera, I've finally gone and done it. I gave myself plenty of self-hugs, at least a couple, and I think at least one high five, because I've done what I needed to, I've done what I wanted to do. I don't need to learn how to drive. I could rely on public transport, but it's unreliable. That it's a choice now. Going to take public transport is a lot more of a choice than it once was. I didn't have any other form of transport that I could take before passing my driving test, as I haven't learned how to ride a bike. I was in a chicken shop, and one bus driver was in there, and I was speaking up to the guy who was serving my food that I did pass, because I have a friendly relationship with him. Before I started the channel, I think. Before and after. And the guy overheard the conversation. I didn't know he was listening in, but he was. And he asked, how many money did you get? I said 4. And then we were just speaking from there. Seemingly friendly guy. He was alright. He seemed alright. And I was saying that I wanted to take my motorbike test as well, and he was saying he personally gave up because he didn't like the harsh feeling of wind blowing through his gloves, and the turning point for him to stop was when he fell on ice on his bike. He said, from that day I sold it and I was done. I think saying it's one thing and experiencing it adds a whole new level of meaning to what you'd be saying. And that goes for anything, I think. Because if you haven't experienced it, you can hear another person talk about it and say, yeah, or think that. But if you're talking about it from experience, then there's complete self-belief of what you're talking about. Or at least partial, a lot more than just hearing it and not knowing about it and not experiencing it. So I'm yet to see how it goes. I've seen motorbike instructors around, and I'm interested after taking the Pass Plus course and after getting a manual car. I think by then I would have certainly improved my financial health, and I'd be ready. I'd be willing to take the bike test and keep on learning, man. Keep it moving as well. Keep on learning and keep it moving. On that note, I'm done. This is the end of the video. It's been a long while since this clip and the last clip. The phone died, so I was waiting for it to charge. I did a little bit, and then I was just on YouTube watching videos for a long while. Just allowing myself to just chill out, really. That's my way of chilling out. I go on YouTube, have a laugh, and it's working. What I'm watching isn't so unhealthy, and I was having thoughts of going back to watching porn again, but I've decided not to because I didn't want to lose hours of sleep. But I don't want to get involved in an uncontrolled fashion in which I'd be exploiting my own sex drive through allowing companies to do that. You could have so many thumbnails up at once, but the natural stimulus of one woman can't do that. One woman could do so much, but that's not the case with an algorithm. But yeah, I didn't go back, even though I thought of doing it many times, and I've allowed myself to move on at least a little bit by going on to things I find funny. I've been doing that a lot recently. My source of humour absolutely is not coming from the healthiest of place through what I'd be watching on YouTube. it definitely isn't. There's one place in particular that is innocent humor, but the other one at the moment that I'm watching it absolutely is not innocent whatsoever, and I laugh out of shock. Some of the things that the person would say would just be so ridiculous that it's like I see him and his friends as like characters from a movie or something, but it's seemingly completely real, and it's so it's violent, but because it's so violent and it's therefore so shocking as it's so different from my life, it's funny with that in mind. Dark humour, some people may call it. Well, at least that's how I interpret it anyway. Otherwise, I'd just be completely distressing myself. Anyway, man, I think I'm done. I think I'll say one thing and then that's it. I'm gone. I'll speak about the dark humour again. One last time, I found that with laughs, it's like I remember the thing more. Maybe there's a sort of way where I'd be able to make learning engaging. Maybe make it funny. I don't know, but just make it. Maybe make my learning funny. Or engaging in other ways, maybe as well. Hey, who knows? Something worth thinking about so that I actually remember what I actually remember the content, so I know what I'm talking about. I look over there because the flashcards are over there, but that's it. I'm done, man. I'm not sure if I'll film a PT Diaries episode today, but I will, at bare minimum, come up with a plan for how I'd film with this camera. I don't know, maybe I can maybe with the plain flashcards that I've got, I can write out what I'm thinking and then have a bird's eye view of what I'm writing up so that it can be constantly seen. I'll try and figure that out. If it's not possible, then I'll just maybe I can use the whiteboard. The camera cut out because of the storage, but yeah, as I was saying, I can use the whiteboard, set up the phone. Rather conveniently, I have my laptop half open, just as I've been on it and thinking about filming again, so I could use that and set up my phone. Like this, but I might move the laptop closer to the whiteboard so it's not so far away. Cheers to a new setup, which I'll certainly be talking about in the diaries. But yeah, man, that's it. Ile, end of the video. Just we finito. So, see you later. Well, this is the end of the video. I'm not seeing anyone later. I'm just here with myself, trapped in this body and trapped in this reality. So I may as well, as I've been thinking today with that exact way of thinking, I may as well make it comfortable and keep on moving and progressing and having something to achieve and have fun with, than just feeling down and being in a very unhealthy place mentally, a dark place. Yeah. Suicidal thoughts on the mind, contemplating them, but in the end, didn't. And now look, got a spurt of hope from passing my driving test. Imagine that. But if I did completely act on those thoughts and succeeded, imagine if I did, I wasn't thinking that I would, but if I did, I would not have known that 2 days later I would have passed my driving test and things would be on the way up again. Yeah, it seems like at this point, at least one after the other is gonna be, it's gonna keep on moving forward. I'm looking at places on Google Maps and thinking of where to go, and it's fun. It's fun thinking of where I could go, and the possibilities being endless. And I think it will be possible to go to many different places for leisure, because I plan to work early and finish maybe at like 1 or 2. So going to these places is possible. I would want to have a rest for a bit, but after that, I don't see why I wouldn't want to go to X, Y, and Z place. Yeah, I certainly have some hope, and after passing my test today, things are certainly on the way up. It seems like I'm moving forward in life. This may come out on the 7th. Today's the 6th, so I passed the test on the 6th, just in case it comes out the day after, because it is like getting on to 11 now, and this phone takes really long to upload and export videos. So yeah, it might come out the day after, but it doesn't mean I can't upload it though. On that note, I'm done, and I'm gonna stop trying to upload things on the day all the time. I haven't done that, and I don't really care for the streak anymore. Just as long as I am working toward going out my way to live how I want to live on a regular basis, at least, that's fine. And even if it's 2 seconds, I've got something to show for it, then yeah, man, it's cool. But I can see, as I think about it, that it's gonna be difficult to create long videos if I don't have anything to talk about, which isn't something that I thought about when I was making so many short 1 to 2 second videos. It makes sense. If you have less to talk about, you spend less time saying that less to talk about. It's very, and especially if you're not stalling and just making up rubbish. Yeah, but anyway, I'm done for now. I'll leave it at that. Just we out, and I'm gonna get on with making the diary now. Cheers to an amazing way of life and an amazing future, man. Day by day, just an amazing way of life slowly. Not forget future, just allow myself to achieve and have fun and enjoy on a daily basis, slowly from day to day, bit by bit, bit by bit, rather than thinking of years ahead, maybe, I don't know, years ahead in the future or something like that, when a way of life would be ideal. I'm always going to have things to deal with and issues to solve, regardless of how ideal I consider my way of life. So I'm going to just stop thinking about that, just day by day, making my way of life more pleasant, more enjoyable, that I can work on, and that is possible. Having an ideal way of life is possible long term too, but it's not something that I want to think about, because I can't get to that 10 years or however long now. I wouldn't put a year mark on it, but just the future, years ahead basically. That's what I'd be thinking without telling myself consciously that I was thinking years ahead. But anyway, I'm done. Cheers to moving forward in life, man, and making something out of myself, and just getting to a place that I would have never expected to get to, and loving life and having my health in order and so on. Peace. Cheers to moving forward in life. Bit by bit, day by day, allows me to create evident progress in my life, like how I've experienced with the driving test. And same will go for anything that I want, man. Just go at it day by day, and I will make evident progress and get there eventually, and take on new other feats that I would have never thought that I would have taken on.